are. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox, and
I am Sister Kate Shofar Mountain.
there you go. If you haven't checked out Sister Kate's channel, it is Sister Kate Shofar Mountain on YouTube, and you should. I'm going to put you in the picture more. Man, a question that I see a lot in various forms is, how do I get my spouse on board? I usually get a little bit snarky when people here ask that, and I say, have you read my book? I have a whole chapter on it. But I did write that book a while ago, and you may have read it, and you may still be having some difficulties. So I thought we would talk about that a little bit. What do you think?
I think I'm ready with my answer.
So, most of the time, but certainly not all of the time, the man wants to prepare, and the woman thinks he's silly.
That's for sale.
Yes, it is for sale.
That's a nice vehicle. Okay.
But there are times when the woman, and there's even some Vikings here, the woman prepares and the man doesn't. And so they're like, how do I do it? And in my book, what I said was, men are designed to provide and protect. And if they're not interested in providing and protecting, they're not men. But they're designed to provide and protect. And when a woman, that man's woman, starts talking about, we need to get ready and we need to get guns and we need to get food and we need to, chaos is coming, puts herself into provide and protect role, that creates tension, right? Whether the man realizes what's going on there or not. By the same token, women are designed by nature, by Yah, to nurture, they're life givers. Men are warriors and hunters. Men are life takers. Women are nurturers. They give birth and they raise little children. Whether you're liberated or not, that's the natural role. And so, if a man tells a woman, we got to get ready for the zombies, baby, they're going to come and kill me and rape you and then kill you too, they just shut down and they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear this crazy talk. It takes them way outside of their comfort zone. And so what I said in my book is, you've got to be able to approach it in a way that doesn't threaten the man or scare the woman. All right, so that's kind of like the concept and the theory of it. You had an idea, and so I'll set it up, and I can't remember, I think I did talk about this in the book, but it's been a while since I read my own book. When we first got married, I wanted us to camp as a family. I think camping is a great family activity, and so our first camp out as a family, not as a couple, but as a family, you want to take it from there, or do you want to?
Sure. He decided he wanted to go camping, and our son was a baby. I forget how old he was at the time.
And he was just over a year old.
And so my concern, of course, was,
He was about 2.
how do we take the baby camping and it be safe? And also, the thing about little children is, a lot of time, schedule. They're used to a schedule, and when you throw the schedule off, sometimes their behavior gets thrown off, and so you have to make it somewhat keep the schedule the same, especially for things like bedtime and bath time. And so for our first camp out, he did as much as he could as far as planning it and then getting everything together for it, to make it as comfortable as he could for me and our son.
Even to the point of, Kate's natural role has always been to prepare the meals for us, even when we were dating. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to take her outside of her environment a little bit. I'm going to cook the meals. Now, it wasn't great. I think I made beans and hot dogs or something. But I got the fire. I did the meal. I set chairs out for her. I brought a cooler with all the drinks for her. I tried to, why don't you guys just go play in the creek? I'll get this done. I set up the tent. I carried everything from the car. Here's the deal. I wanted her to have an awesome experience and like camping. It's like, wow, this is fun. The rest of it can come. And what I didn't want to do was go out there and have a horrible experience. And she's like, never again. We're just never doing that. And I think I succeeded fairly well.
Right, because it was something different, and I didn't have all the burden on me to take care of those little details, and he had done them. I was like, okay, this is working so far. I'm able to watch our child, make sure he's okay while he gets all that done. And it's, one of the fun things about camping is your environment. Now, we didn't go wandering, we didn't hike or anything with the 2-year-old. But as the sun goes down and you've got a fire going, and of course he started the fire, there's a certain glow, and you sit down and you cook some marshmallows and you talk and so on. That's fun. There's a lot of nice experience there. So all that went great. And we did the things, we ate the food and, had our campfire chat and everything. But then it kind of turned right
so I
there.
get to pick up the story.
Okay.
So we did this event when I was in the Special Forces qualification course. And we had a weekend off while I was in that course. We had a couple weekends off. We had many weekends off. But on this particular weekend, I was off. But man, I had worked hard the whole week before. And I think back then I was getting up about 4:30 in the morning and training hard all day. And then we got off on Friday, afternoon. And the truck was already packed. We got in and we drove 2 hours or something to the Uwharrie National Forest, and we just drive up on these gravel roads in the forest, and we didn't stay in the campground. I just saw some woods, and I said, I think I can fit my truck between those trees. So we drove up in there, and then I camouflaged the truck with a camo net so somebody couldn't see it from the road. I did all those things, and so then we start camping. But back then, we were very urban people still. And we didn't feel comfortable around rednecks and country people. People like us now. And we didn't know what to expect. And about all we knew was that movie Deliverance, So, campout's going great. Son's doing good. Wife's doing good. Get the fire going. I had about 2 beers around the fire. And man, it gets dark and I'm tired. And so we take our son, and back then we only had this little 2-man pup tent that we bought for $17. It was really small, and our plan was we'd sleep in 2 sleeping bags or whatever with our son in the middle. And so we go put him into bed, and all he's doing is just goofing around and crying and banging on the tent a little bit because he could see the fire on it. And so I told my wife, I said, I tell you what, I'll go in and lay down with him. And because she wasn't tired yet. And so I go in there and lay down with him, and then he's not crying anymore, but now it's like playtime. And man, I'm exhausted. It's like pulling me down, the sleep monster. And he's just gaga climbing all over me and everything. And then so my wife Kate comes in and she says, all right, well, I'll go to bed too and he'll calm down. And we're just getting calmed down. And here comes some big, loud 4-wheel drive vehicle up the road. And it's got all these auxiliary lights on it. And they pulled into the woods, 25, 50 yards away from where we were? Mm-hmm. Now, I don't think they knew we were there. I really don't. I think they just pulled in, but the truck stops. Somebody gets out of the truck, fires a shotgun into the air, boom, and goes, "Ee-haw!" And I'm like, we are out of here. I've had it. I'm definitely not going to be able to sleep now with these yahoos drinking and shooting guns right over there. And so we packed everything up pretty quick. Son's all gooing everything. I'm exhausted. We get in the car, strap him in a car seat, and 5 minutes later, he's asleep.
The tent thing not working as far as it's not a crib, it's not a contained bed situation.
It's not his normal
situation, and for him it was very stimulating. But as soon as you put him in a car seat and the car starts rolling.
But we're getting off track. We just told a Joe Kate story. Hey, how do you get your spouse on board?
Okay, so like I was saying, I did say this, right? You want their first experience to be comfortable, because one of the things that keeps people from doing anything is camping can be uncomfortable, depending on where they're going. going and what you're doing.
All right, so let me grab that. And then I had a friend whose wife wasn't into prepping. I got him into prepping because I worked with him every day, and his wife thought it was silly. And you watch the road and tell me where to turn, please.
Yes.
And he started buying extra food, and she was starting to give him some guff about that. It's like, hey, we don't need this food, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. And he was secretly squirreling it away, and he built them a pantry, which she thought was dumb. But he started doing that, and you know, he'd come home from work and stop at the grocery store, it's actually the commissary, and get food. Until one day she was making something for dinner where she needed cream of mushroom soup, and she was like, dang it, I was supposed to pick that up on the way home from work today, because I mean, who keeps a case of cream of mushroom soup in the cupboard? And I really wanted to make this. I guess we're gonna have macaroni and cheese or something. He's like, no, I got some. And she's like, why did you buy it? He goes, because we use it, so I bought some. We have like 6 cans of it. And then it's like a light bulb went off in her head, and she's like, this is brilliant. We should have our own little mini grocery store here at home. And so you have to use positive examples with things. We had this woman that was involved in an organization we were in one time, and I think her husband was just a loser, to tell you the truth, because she really got into it. She organized a camp out for like 100 people to come to, and she was really big. And I think that threatened him. He felt threatened by that his wife was successful, and everybody at this camp out knew her from the internet. So they're coming up and talking to her, and you know, what's he, chopped liver? They weren't really talking to him. Meth. So, men, I think you have to explain it to your wife. And see, we're not really super fair to talk about this, because we kind of came into preparedness together. We both grew up overseas with families that worked for the government, and they were kind of into prepping just by nature and training. And so, you know, we kind of grew together. But men, you've got to explain things with love to your wife and take a firm hand and lead and just do things, and don't just focus on the death and destruction stuff. Focus on, you know, household things. And I also said in my book, don't tell your wife she can't buy any Lagerberger baskets because you got to save money to buy food for the apocalypse. And wives, don't tell your husband he can't buy another fishing pole because we got to buy food for the apocalypse. You got to take it out of your end first in the compromise until things get rolling. Okay, your turn.
I kind of forgot. The point I was trying to make is just simply make it more comfortable, because people, so your first camp out trip doesn't have to be, we are roughing it in the Utah Canyon Badlands, and we're going to carry our water, and we're
going to bug out overnight, all night.
If we get there and there's a flash flood, we're going to drown. You can have your first camp out be in your own backyard, because for women, a lot of times the bathroom is the place, and they don't want to go to the stinky, fly-ridden, filthy outhouse. So you go to someplace like your own backyard so they can use the bathroom they're used to, and then you introduce the kind of things you're going to be doing on a camp out. So we'll make the fire and the grill ourselves this time.
But you keep coming back to camping. What about other aspects of preparing?
Oh, yeah, okay, so I thought that was all right. So the prepping stuff is like Pastor said, you don't want to just 2 feet leap off the cliff into it. If you're going to want to do self-defense with somebody, you don't just say, all right, we're going to throw down with a Krav Maga expert, do your best, dear. You want to introduce things in a gentle way. So maybe the first thing you do is watch a movie with some of that stuff in it, but also things in it that she likes.
And then point things out.
Or, I was thinking games. There are some games that involve
Oregon Trail. You had cholera and died.
Right? Oregon Trail is a computer game, but I mean, it's got some realistic stuff about traveling and what you would be doing, and then do something kind of fun. Go to a reenactment. Reenactments
or a museum.
Or a museum are really fun. Like the, the Revolutionary War reenactors, they've got the chuck wagons, and they've got the primitive cooking stuff. And then if you go to a living history museum like we did, straight. But then you turn the next one. one aspect of the Living History Museum that we went to was the fact that they were making pickled things in a crock on the counter with no electricity required, and that fascinated me. Or there are the what do you call it? The tools that you use when you do primitive cooking. James Townsend and Son is a really good YouTube channel.
It really is. Somebody else just recommended that too.
Right.
I think on here.
And he wears the outfit. I mean, he's into that recreation, so he's reenacting. He's wearing the stuff, but he's also using the tools and cooking with the techniques of early 1700s, 1800s stuff. And he shows these
We gotta wrap
foods.
this up.
So, just make it gentle and easy and ease your way into the things. And scouting was a really good, it trained both of us in different ways.
All right, we've gone long. What are your ideas for getting your spouse on board? No complaining. What are the solutions? All right, we'll see you out there.
Shalom.